Well, hello everyone. Today we're talking about fan fiction. More specifically, we're talking about fan fiction tropes. I was digging through my old text with the bestie. I was looking for a specific text that I failed to find. But I did find this old tier list the both of us did where we ranked fan fiction tropes, and I was like, I've since become very into making tier videos on my YouTube channel. We're doing that. Anyway, yeah, that's literally all this video is going to be. I found the tier list. We're going to rank a bunch of fanfiction tropes. I will say I'm a little curious to see how much mine has changed. We'll see if I decide to share that information with the rest of you. But I do want to be clear, this ranking will just be my opinion. You can rank it differently. I will put it in the description so you can do the tier list if you want to. You don't have to. It's up to you. I just think it's fun. Alrighty, here's the tier list. Isn't she beautiful? I didn't make it. I can't take credit. I can't take credit for one thing. I made a drink. It's cranberry juice and vodka, but I figured if we're gonna do this, I need booze. Anyway, let's run through the tiers. Okay, the bottom tier I did actually add. That's not in the original. It's the I truly do not care tier. These are the tropes where like I don't feel strongly positive or negative. I don't care. Like it's meaningless to me. Okay, it's that type of vibe. Then the tiers that they actually made when they made this tier list. Bottom tier is it's a no for me. These are the tropes I don't like. I don't enjoy it. In fact, if you told me this was the trope, I would not read the fic. I'd be actively against it, okay? Then, really depends on execution. These ones, it's like, it's a rarity. Like, I will read it, but, like, it's got to be done really well. Depends on execution is just, like, it's a 50-50. Like, sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. It depends on execution. Like it is, I'll typically read it. Like, I'm not opposed to it. I'm kind of into it. Sometimes it's a miss, but usually I enjoy it. Love it. I love it. I do. Like, these are the tropes that just tickle my brain in ways that I can't explain, but I love them. And then I would die for this trope. These are the tropes where they're everything to me. Okay? There's at least two on here that I know are gonna be there. And these are the tropes where it's like my favorite fics. Like, if you were to list out my favorite fics, you would see a running trend, okay? That trend would be these tropes. Alrighty. Let's get started. Starting us off as lovers to enemies. Now, in general, I'm not the biggest fan of a breakup fic. I can read it. I'm not opposed to it, but it depends on it really depends on execution, actually. That's where it's gonna go. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not avidly opposed. It just really depends on the execution. Next, we have a good old royalty AU. I will not deny, there was a time in my life where I loved a royalty AU. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it depends on the execution. I think it can be done well. The one thing that like a lot of people play into in what I've read that I don't enjoy is they get like weirdly into the power imbalance and they like try and over explain it. Like they try and justify the power imbalance to be like, yes, there's a power imbalance, but it's not weird because of this litany of reasons. And I'm like, I didn't come here, to be fair, I've usually read it actually now that I say this aloud with like royalty member and like guard, but they try and like fix it and I'm like, I don't care. It's a fan fiction. These aren't real. Next is fluff. I am gonna put it in the I like it. I do enjoy some good tooth rotting fluff if there's something else going on. Like if you were to just give me like plain old fluff, again, at a time I would have really enjoyed it. In the modern day, we could do more. Like, I don't need cutesy, boring stuff. I've lived a life. Like, I would like more nuance. Next, we have pregnancy fic. I'm putting it in the I truly do not care, and I would like to explain this. There's mpreg later on in this tier list. I don't read het fic. I've literally never in my life read a het fic. So any pregnancy that I've been reading is mpreg, and therefore, I'm going to save all my thoughts for the mpreg tag. Hurt no comfort. Here's the thing. I'm putting it depends on the execution because sometimes people take it like a little too far for me because I feel like the comfort is sort of crucial to the hurt part of it. And I'm not saying you can't do hurt no comfort, but I do think some people are like a little too far with the hurt and then there's just no comfort and you're like, see, this did not fulfill it for me. So it depends on the execution. Next we have Hanahaki. I've never read this. I had to Google it. Apparently, it involves coughing up petals. I mean, I guess that feels weird. That feels like if I were to be reading a fic about like Mark Yuck, okay, and suddenly Mark is coughing up flowers, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? So like, I'm gonna say it's a no for me. I've literally never in my life even come across it. Next is secretly dating. I need to think about where I want to put this actually. No, I'm gonna put it in like it. I thought about love it. I used to love a secretly dating trope. It used to do things to my psyche. I read like 82 DJ secretly dating fics. Um, it's since lost a lot of its appeal. I think a big part of it was the fact that I was still a closeted high school kid. I'm now 25, so like I'm an adult, and it doesn't hit the way it did before. Like in my mind now, if I'm gonna be dating you, we're doing it publicly or we're not doing. We need to fill out some of the top. We're going slightly out of order. A slow burn. I love a slow burn. I love a slow burn. Give me like 100K long fic that will make me cry at 82 different points, and in the end, it's just beautiful. That's everything to me. There was this author that wrote a lot of exofic. They're still writing fic for like fandoms I don't care about. They wrote a lot of exofic. They were so good at a slow burn. They made the greatest slow burns, dare I say. Me and the bestie would call them the author of death because their fics would kill us. It was so good. I love a slow burn. Let's fill in the love it tag, actually. I love an unhappy ending. I'm actually like weirdly into an unhappy ending. I don't love it. Like it's not an I would die for this trope type of thing, but I do love an unhappy ending. It's more of a media thing, honestly, but it does apply to fan fiction too, where I'm just like, see, what if the thing ends and then you're sitting there and you're like, damn, what did I like? What did I just watch? Anora, the ending of Anora. That's an unhappy ending type of vibe, and I loved it. I loved the ending. So like, I just unhappy endings get to me. I think they hit the part of my brain that's deeply disturbed and needs to be more therapized. But either way, I love it. You know, we're just gonna bop around as I see fit. Major character death. It really depends. It does. It depends on where in the majorness of the character. Like, are we talking part of the actual pairing? Are we talking like the best friend who's been in the whole thing? Which type of main? I've read both. Both can be done well, but it really depends. And it depends on like the kind of death. I mean, I guess that falls into other tropes. Like, is it like a mob AU? Like, do they die in a mob AU? Is it a cancer AU? It depends on the vibe. My point is, it really depends. Fake dating, I'm gonna say depends on the execution. I've read really good fake dating fics. I remember this, it was a DJ fic. They're all gonna be DJ fics. I remember this DJ fic where Daehyun gets invited to, I think it's Junong's wedding, and they're like exes, so him and Youngjae are fake dating, and then they become real dating. It's a classic. Like, it is a classic of fan fiction. I feel like if you've read more than like 10 fics, you've read a fake dating AU. And it depends. Canon divergence. See, because here's the thing. I read a lot of K-pop fic in the modern day, and the canon is real life. So, like, it can still be real life. I'm gonna say I truly don't care. I've read fics that are, like, canon. I've read fics that aren't canon. It doesn't, like, if it's a well-written fic, it does not matter to me whether or not it's actually canon, if that makes sense. We need to hurry this up. I feel like I have, like, 82,000 things left. Dark fic. It depends on the execution. I feel like that makes sense. Like you can go too dark, and at which point I'm no longer engaged. So it depends on the execution. Crime AU depends on the execution. Detective AU depends on the execution. Most AUs, like historical AU is different. A lot of AUs, it depends on the execution. Like, are you doing it well? Like, do I believe that these characters are also doing that? Like, do I believe that Youngjae is a detective? That's the type of vibe. Anyway, I said historical AU is different. I do like a historical AU. I'm just a loser for history. Like, I just love history. So I do kind of love a historical AU more than the average would, because I'm like, let's talk history. Like, let's take history and work it into my weird K-pop idol fic. Also, a high school AU. I love a high school AU. I really do. I think it's just that when I think of fic, and when I think of like a lot of idols, I think of high school, mainly because I got into K-pop in high school, and a lot of idols that I got into that I like really were crucial to my psyche, I was standing when I was in high school, and when a lot of them were also high school age. So there's that. Also, I'm a Dream stan. Marquette High School AU is essentially a rite of passage to being an citizen. So I do love a high school AU. Like, I think you can do a lot more with it than you can your average AU because you get the typical stuff. Like, you get your usual fic tropes, but you can also throw, like, high school has extra things going for it. Meanwhile, a soulmate AU, I actually, potentially controversially, I don't like a soulmate AU. I've read a couple, and for the most part, they don't do it for me. I don't know why. They don't do it for me. I'm not a big soulmate AU person. Heist fic, I don't care. I don't like heist. Like it's not even like it's a no for me or it depends. It's none of that. Like I just don't care. Oh, college AU. College AU is like high school AU. I feel like it's just like when I was in college, I was reading college AUs again. It's a different type of vibe. Like here's my thing with college AUs. I love, honestly, I think I'm going to put it above high school AU. I love a college AU more than a high school AU because college is such a formative time in life, but also it's not weird for you to write smut. Like if you're writing smut, even if the idols that you're writing about are like in their 20s and it's a high school AU, it still has like that tinge of weirdness to it. Whereas, maybe not a tinge of weirdness, but like, okay, as someone who's written a fic, I've gotten comments on a fic I wrote. It was a Hogwarts AU actually. But I got a comment being like, you should have tagged this as underage because if it's Hogwarts AU, then they're underage, like canonically. And I was like, you're fucking stupid. That's ridiculous. But I feel like a college AU, like you don't even have to worry about that. Like it's not going to cross anyone's mind. If you're writing a college AU, people are going to assume they're in college. Fix it fix? How do I want to think about it? I think it really depends on the execution. Again, most of what I read in the modern day is like real life, like RPF. So there's no real like fix it in the same way. But I have read fix it fix. It really depends. A lot of the times you can sort like it gets too headcanon-y and then it gets weird to me. Enemies to lovers. Dare I say the most classic fic trope, and I would die for it. I do just adore a good enemies to lovers. There's one fic, there's a couple fics actually that I would say are like some of my favorite fics that are enemies to lover fics. And if I had to pick one, there's a Jamin Heton college AU that's enemies to lovers and it's so good and I love it. There's a lot of others. Like I do just love a good enemies to lovers trope. Like it's a classic for a reason. Angst, I'm gonna put angst with fluff because I feel like it's similar. I like it. I do enjoy some good angst, but you need more in the fic for me. Like, I can't just have solo angst. Like, I want more than just straight up depression. I want there to be more going on. Let's talk time loops. I fucking hate a time loop. I hate a time loop. I've read some. I think I've read like 2 or 3. I've never once enjoyed it. Not a single time. I really don't like a time loop because it gets too repetitive for me in my brain. I'm like, we need more things going on. Time loops, I hate them. Bodyguard fic. I like a bodyguard fic that's supposed to go up a tier. I like a bodyguard fic. I do. I feel like it just adds something fun to the mix. Like, I can't explain it. I just enjoy it. Maybe it's the fact that 90% of the time they're in suits and I love a man in a suit. Domesticity is honestly a no for me. I find it boring. I really do. The bestie wrote a Sukai fic once, and it was like a follow-up to another fic she wrote, and I really liked the first fic she wrote. She knows this, but the second fic she wrote for them, I was like, it's a little too domestic. Like, it's boring. Like, I'm bored, and I need more conflict. I need more going on. Let's knock out some more AUs. Sci-fi AU, fantasy AU, Western AU. All of the, basically, I could have just made an AU that I'm like, it depends trope, like it depends AU, because again, for all the AUs, like it depends on your execution and how true you are to the character themselves, like, because if you're going to give me an AU and suddenly they're a completely different person, then I'm like, see, this isn't the character that I enjoy. This isn't the character that I came here to read fic for. You've completely changed their character. That's why all AUs are in here. Because it's like 90% of the time, it depends on how true you are to them as a character and what you change. I threw some more AUs in the it depends tier. I didn't feel like repeating myself. So we got bookstore AU, paranormal AU, coffee shop AU. It depends. The one AU I didn't take is celebrity AU. And that one I'm actually going to put in it really depends because I've read it in ways that I like it. But a lot of the time, again, it's that I read a lot of K-pop fic in the modern day, so, like, it does mess with the vibes a little bit since they're all already celebrities to some extent. But it really depends. A lot of the times because here's the way I think about it with K-pop idols is if you're a celebrity, like if you're in the K-pop group, I've talked about DJ too much. Let's talk about Mark Yuck. If we're gonna take a Mark Yuck fic and we make it where Mark is not famous, but Haechan is still in NCT, the rest of that is still canon, but they change Haechan in weird ways, then you rubbed me the wrong way. Because again, it's like this isn't the character that I like. So it really depends. Crackfic is gonna be a no for me. Honestly, so is Hitman Target. I don't like Hitman Target. I've read them. I don't like it. Crackfic, I don't like because, as we've established, I want it to be like my own mind palace-y version of the characters. And if you're not taking it seriously, I'm not going to take it seriously. And I don't want to read something you didn't take seriously. As for Hitman Target, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't. I've read it. Other than the weird flower one, I've read everything we've discussed so far. But, like, it doesn't do it for me. Let's talk gen fics. It really depends. Most of the fic that I read is not gen fics. Like, I read some form of romance or smut. Like, that's how it works. And for gen fics, I feel like a lot of the times they'll, like, start to do a romance thing and then they pull themselves back. Like, I feel like, okay, maybe this is just some of the fics that I've read. Like, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of where it was like a dream AU, like NCT Dream, like non-celebrity, just like vibes AU. And it was a gen fic. And they kept like reeling it back in. Like they'd start to build a romance thing and then they'd reel it back in. And it got very annoying. Hurt Comfort. I said that Hurt No Comfort depended. And Hurt Comfort also depends. I can't, like, it depends on how you do it, okay? It depends mostly on the hurt. The comfort is a lot easier for me to, like, get through, but it depends on the hurt, so it depends. Drunken Confessions. I like a Drunken Confession fic. I do think they're fun. I could very easily put it in that it depends. I do think they're fun. I do. I like a Drunken Confession. I feel like it's just, like, that perfect level of messy boots where it can be fun. Crossover. Ironically, I do not read many crossovers where, like, the main pairing is a crossover. I've read some. Typically, it'll be, like, Jackson Wang is throwing a party type of crossover. Like, he's there, but he doesn't do anything. I don't mind it. Like, I like it. It's just, it is what it is. It's not my go-to, but it does always make me wonder, like, let's ponder this dynamic and see where we go with it. Mutual pining, I don't care. I don't care about mutual pining. If your fic is only mutual pining and you have no other real, like, meat to the lore, I'm bored and I won't read it. But it's like a mutual pining tag would never make or break my decision. Unrequited love, on the other hand. I love unrequited love. Again, it's the part of my brain that needs to be more therapized, but I love a good unrequited love. Like, I do. Like, I feel like it goes with the unhappy ending. Like, you give me unrequited love plus unhappy ending, you will have a fan for life. I will defend it to my grave. Oh my god, y'all, we have another tag I've never read. I've never in my life read a Meet the Family fic. I'm not opposed to it, I guess. I don't like it. Where do I want to put this? It's going in, I truly do not care. I've never read it, and the concept of it makes me feel nothing. So, I truly do not care. Missing scenes is honestly, like, the most depends on the execution. Because what is the scene? Like, it depends on what the scene is. Is the scene important? Do I need the scene? Or is it just like you, in your mind palace, wanted to explain this scene and no one else needed it? Like, it depends. Oh my god. Another fic I've never read. I've never read Flower Shop and Tattoo Artist. I, in fact, needed to Google it to make sure it's what I thought it was. It is. It's just one works at a flower shop, one works as a tattoo artist. I've never read it. Sick fic, I do like a sick fic. I do. I think it's cute. Like, the sick fic with the fluff, that's cute. That's wholesome. Like, I can get behind a sick fic. It usually is just very cute. Mission case fic, I don't care. I've never bothered to care. Like, I feel like it's just, you're not gonna get that on its... Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. 5+1's the bane of my existence. I hate a 5+1. I can't stand a 5+1. I'll see a 5+1 and I'll be like, oh, I'd rather die than read it. I cannot for the life of me stand a 5+1 fic. They piss me off. Let's talk about a near-death confession. It depends. Depends on the execution. It depends on the confession vibes and the death vibes. It depends on the execution. Now let's talk mpreg. We've been waiting for this moment. At least I have. It really depends. I'm not typically a big mpreg person. I've read it done decently, but like 90% of the time it's established relationships. Honestly, if that's the meat of the fic, it's a no for me. Like, it's boring to me personally. I like mess more than anything else. I like a good messy fic, and an established relationship is typically not that messy. Idiots in love, though, I do like idiots in love. I do. It tickles a part of my brain again. Like, I like it. Hey, I don't think I've ever read a fic where like the main thing was AI. I don't care. It's just, I don't think I've read that. Friends to lovers. I like a friends to lovers. Oh God, where'd you go? You're over here. I like a friends to lovers. I don't love it, but I can get behind. Gender swap. I don't read het fic. There's no gender swapping that will be done ever. I zoomed out. I wanted to see the rest of them so we could just bop around and I could keep the ones that I wanted to save for last. With reader, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not part of the canon. I don't want to read about my own self. Like, I understand why X-Reader fics exist. They're weird to me. Next, we have a miscommunication fic. I guess it depends on the execution. They do typically piss me off, but like, they can work. Painfully Oblivious, however, does actively piss me off because I spend much of my reading experience yelling at the screen, being like, can you please, for the love of God, get it together? Oh, I missed the modern day AU. Given the fact that I don't think I've read many things that aren't like originally set in the modern day, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. Amnesia. Amnesia really depends on the execution. I feel like I've read some where I got a little weird, like a little too weird, and I did not enjoy it, but I feel like it could be done well. I just haven't come across it yet. And They Were Roommates is a classic. It really is. I do like it. I think it's good. Like, I enjoy it. Body swap. I feel like I saw a lot more body swapping like a couple years ago, and in the modern day, I feel like the girls aren't body swapping anymore. I think it depended on the execution. Like, sometimes it got a little weird, but usually it was fine. It's just, I feel like I'm not seeing it anymore. I have not thought about a body swap AU in years. Arranged marriage, that one truly depends on the execution more than most. I read one once that I vividly recall that I read it. And I finished the first chapter and I was like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, this is feeling very Stockholm Syndrome-y. And then I went to look at the comments and the top comment was like, it's giving Stockholm Syndrome. And then I stopped reading it. So, like, it really depends. Canon compliant. I do enjoy canon compliant more than, like, a not canon compliant. But, like, it doesn't really make a difference. Whether or not we're in canon matters less to me than your characterization. I know I already said that, but like, I do prefer canon compliant. We're gonna do two that I feel like are similar. Patching Up Wounds and XX Lovers. Actually, I prefer XX Lovers. XX Lovers just does things to my psyche. But I do like both of them. I enjoy them. I feel like, again, like, I like the mess and they're very messy. Grumpy and Sunshine. Okay, hear me out. Grumpy and Sunshine does not care to me because in reality, if they're not Grumpy and Sunshine, then it doesn't do it for me because then I'm like, no, you're changing the vibe. So like, it does not affect my opinion simply because I want my characters to be the way that they are. What else can we knock out? Baby fic? I like a baby fic. It depends, actually. Actually, it depends. Because I've read baby fic that's fun and is good, and then I've read it where it's just very domestic and I'm very bored. Jealousy, I do like jealousy. Again, I feel like we need more going on with it. Like, your soul thing can't be jealousy. But if jealousy is a factor in a larger fic, that I'm here for. Bully, it really depends. Bullying fics have never really done it for me. Although I guess, which is interesting actually, now that I say this, because bullying and enemies to lovers do typically go like hand in hand. Or at least bullying goes hand in hand with enemies to lovers. I don't know. But they doesn't do it for me. Fighting turn confession depends. It's like the near-death confession. Like, it depends. Okay, we have two more to knock out really quick. Holiday fic. I like a holiday fic. I think it's cute. Love triangle, it depends on the execution. We are now down to what I dub the smut tags in this. The least smutty being huddle for warmth. Huddle for warmth honestly bores me. You need to go down one. It honestly bores me. Like, of all of the reasons you could have them, like, starting to fuck, why is it huddling for warmth? Sharing a bed is also the least smutty. I've written sharing a bed fic. I do like it. It just, I will concede, at least for when I wrote it, it feels a bit lazy. Like, of all the, again, like, it's like of all the reasons they're getting together, oh, there's one bed. I love how they tag this as kink fic, as if that's just the way it's tagged. There's nothing else tagged. It's just kink fic. Of all the kinks, they're all just kink fic. In that case, it really depends on the kink. There's definitely a kink one out there. I would be willing to do that. I think, would I be willing to expose that about myself? I need to ponder it, but I'm not fully opposed to it. Okay, sex pollen. I like sex pollen. I do. I think it's like messy and fun and weird, but it usually does work in my mind palette. PWP. I like PWP. Sometimes, listen, we all just need to be honest, okay? Sometimes I'm in the mood to just read smut. I don't want any plot. I don't want any lore. I want nothing but porn, and sometimes that's what we need. Okay, fuck or die depends on the execution to me. It's been hit or miss, but like, I'm typically pro. Like, I'm more pro than anti, it just depends. And last but not least, we got ABO, which is, there we go. We got ABO, which depends on the execution. Okay, here's the thing. I've read ABO fic where the omegas have vaginas, and that makes me uncomfortable. Typically, I'm fine with it. Like, usually ABO is not going to make or break me, as long as your omegas don't have vagina. And that's all I have for you today. This has been a very long experience. I've been sitting here a lot longer than I intended to, but I feel like that's what always happens when I do these. So yeah, if you liked this, feel free to like and subscribe. Or don't. I'll be okay either way. You can also comment whatever you want. Judge me. Judge me in the comments. I can take it, I promise. What else do I have to share? I'll put other ranking videos in the description. I have a playlist of like character rankings from TV shows. I guess I'll put them down there. You can read into that and then compare it to my fic tropes, see how you feel about it. But other than that, yeah, that's all I got for you. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!